There's something very surreal about walking uphill feeling like gravity forgot to show up. Every step feels lighter, easier, almost like cheating. But this isn't a sci-fi movie, this is real and it's strapped to my legs. Let's ramble.
Hold up, things go wild when I pull up. They all on me like they want some.
Hey guys, what's up? So today I'm testing something very different, and by different I mean something that looks like it came straight out of Ironman's weekend gear. This is the Hypershell X Ultra, the world's most advanced outdoor exoskeleton. Now, before you start picturing military suits or medical rehab devices, that's not what this is. The Hypershell X Ultra was built for regular people who love moving. Hikers, runners, cyclists, and explorers, basically anyone who's ever thought, what if my legs could just keep going forever? So what exactly are we looking at here? Hypershell calls this thing an AI-powered exoskeleton designed for outdoor endurance. It uses a brand new M1 Ultra motor that delivers up to 1,000 watts of peak output. That's roughly 1.3 horsepower, but for your body. Think about it, you just added 1 horsepower to your body. How many horsepowers do you have? That's right, 0. It attaches around your hips and legs, and the idea is simple. It helps offset the physical strain of movement. It's been SGC certified to reduce exertion by up to 39% and lower your average heart rate by up to 42%. And that's not nothing. That's not marketing fluff, by the way. That's lab-tested data. And here's where it gets even cooler. There's a built-in AI motion engine Ultra that actually learns how you move. After a few minutes, it starts predicting your gait, when you're about to accelerate, climb, or descend, and it adjusts the level of assistance automatically. The more you use it, the smoother and more natural it becomes. Hypershell says it's built for extremes from -20 Celsius to 60 Celsius. I'll put the freedom units up here somewhere. So unless you're climbing into a volcano, you'll be fine. Now, who is this not for? It's not meant as a mobility aid or military tech. That is very strictly not what they're trying to do here. This is really for outdoor enthusiasts who want to go further with less effort. Kind of like how an e-bike doesn't replace your legs, it just makes them feel electric. The packaging alone tells you they're serious about this. Inside the box you get the main exoskeleton unit, a compact battery, a charger, and a few accessories. And right away the materials really stand out. The frame is 60% carbon fiber and 30% titanium alloy. You can actually see the 3K carbon weave shimmering under the lights. It's the same high-strength dry carbon molding used for performance cars. It's beautiful. The carbon rods feel feather light, but really rigid. And the titanium back rod has this sleek, almost jewelry grade finish. Altogether, the structure weighs just 1.8 kilograms plus a 400 gram battery. Lighter than most camera gimbals I've reviewed, and believe me, I've done a few of them. And it folds surprisingly small, about the size of a small backpack. So you could easily just throw it in your trunk next to your hiking boots. Putting it on feels a bit like gearing up for a sci-fi mission or something. A couple of clips around your waist and thighs, tighten the straps, slot in the battery, and press the power button. And instantly, the LEDs light up, and you feel a subtle hum through the frame, almost like it's waking up. You can control everything with your phone or the new Apple Watch app, which is great because you don't have to pull out your phone mid-trail all the time. Just flick your wrist, choose a mode, and you're good to go. With that said, personally, I think you can control quite a bit using just a button on the device itself. So for most things, I actually found myself not needing the app. I only whip it out when I really need that additional bit of control. I tried walking around the first time here in the studio. The moment I took my first steps, there was this gentle push forward. Nothing overwhelming, but enough that you instantly notice. You're still walking, but the resistance seems to be gone. It's like the floor suddenly turned into a moving walkway, you know? The interesting part is that when you turn it off, that's when you really feel the difference. You know, when you're walking on one of those moving walkways at the airport, it's not until you hop off of it that you notice how slow you were actually going before. It's kind of like that. Anyway, that was the eco mode. I then switched to the hyper mode, which is an entirely different experience. It feels like your legs are literally being lifted off the ground for you. Way more powerful, and that's when I realized this thing does not belong indoors, it needs to be out there. I'm gonna take this thing into the good old Belgian countryside and do some hiking. Okay, so I just started walking with these things on, and it's feeling a bit weird. It's on the lowest setting, so I do feel that there's some assist going on, but it's not like I'm being pushed, but clearly it feels a bit lighter than it would usually feel. At the same time, I feel a bit silly because you are wearing basically braces, and there are people around. I'm not super in the wilderness or something, so I do feel like I might be a little bit of an attraction when people see me, but I guess I'll get used to that. So I took it for a 5-kilometer hike, a route that I know pretty well, one that usually leaves me a bit winded by the halfway mark. This time I wanted to know how the Hypershell handled different terrains and how it affected my endurance. I started in eco mode, which gives you about 30 kilometers of range per charge. It's subtle, it doesn't push you, but it takes the edge off every incline. It feels like walking downhill, even when you're going up. Then I switched it to hyper mode, and that's where things got wild. Suddenly you're moving faster with almost no added effort. I found myself feeling a bit silly at first because it felt unnatural. I felt like I was walking like a bird a little bit. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it feels weird in a good way. Your brain just keeps waiting for your legs to burn or get tired, but they just don't. Halfway through the hike, I checked my heart rate and it's about 15 to 20 beats lower than usual. Just FYI, I have a pretty high resting heart rate. Always have. I'm like a human hummingbird, maybe a bit bigger. Anyway, heart rate is definitely lower and more consistent most of all. And that's when you start realizing this isn't just a gadget, it's actually a performance enhancer. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm gonna put it on the 4th, which is hyper mode. So now I'm gonna start running a little bit and yeah, watch me make an ass out of myself. I just went for a bit of a run up and down. I didn't run that much, but I'm not out of breath. I was out of breath for like 10 seconds and it's back again. It's super interesting and it feels way better than I thought it would. It's a fun, useful product that does what it promises. I also tried running plus mode, which gives you more aggressive assistance during takeoff. Obviously, it feels like there's more push and more power than the previous one, but it also feels like it's lifting my legs a bit higher. It actually helps you accelerate. You can really feel it in the first few steps. I couldn't try cycling plus mode because, well, I don't really own a cycle. I have an electric bike, but that would be a bit of a double whammy, so didn't really see the point there. But I can't wait to go nuts on our exercise bike at home just to see how this feels. But one of my favorite features is the hill descent control. Normally going downhill kind of wrecks your knees after a while. This mode detects the downwards motion and then resists just enough to stabilize you. It feels like having invisible shock absorbers on your legs. There's even snow and dune modes, which obviously I couldn't test today, but the fact that they exist tells you how much thought went into this thing. Over the full hike, the battery of course dropped a bit, but there is still a lot of juice left. Hypershell says that you can push 30 kilometers on eco mode or about 6 kilometers on hyper, and that seems to be on point. What really stood out to me though was how natural it felt after just about 15 minutes. At first, you're a bit conscious of it, you're testing, analyzing, but soon it just becomes a part of you. And that's probably where the AI motion engine really does its work. It learns your gait, your rhythm, and it becomes an extension of your movement rather than something you've got on you and that you feel all the time. It doesn't feel robotic anymore, it feels assistive. Like a perfectly timed hand on your back that never gets tired. It really does feel a lot like an e-bike for your legs. If you have an e-bike, you probably know what I'm talking about. You're still pedaling, but definitely lighter than a regular bike. Well, that's kind of what it feels like with a Hypershell too. By the time I got back, I felt like I'd barely done half the effort I normally would. My knees didn't ache. Yes, I'm starting to be an old fart, so things start hurting these days. My legs weren't burning, and my heart rate was way lower than expected. Now, I really don't think the Hypershell X Ultra is about making you lazy, it's about making things less challenging, and I actually think there's a value in that, especially if you're someone who gets intimidated by what seems to be a huge task or a heavy activity. You can hike further, climb higher, or even just carry gear without feeling like you're dragging yourself uphill. You could start in hyper mode and then work your way down to eco mode before going without any assistance. I can really see that being a useful training for some people. Now, it's not without quirks. The straps take a bit of getting used to and adjusting, and the first few minutes can feel slightly mechanical before the AI adapts to your body and to your gait, but once it does, you almost forget that you're wearing it. This thing is built like premium tech, not a prototype. The carbon fiber finish, the titanium spine, even the way the motors hum quietly, it feels refined, futuristic, and durable. And while it's not cheap, it's in a completely different category from anything anything else I've tried. It's what happens when human design meets machine intelligence, and both get along perfectly. If I could change one thing though, I would recommend Hypershell to add USB-C to the batteries so we can charge them individually. Now you have to attach the battery to the unit first and then charge the entire thing. That's a little impractical. I'd rather just charge the batteries and then plug them into the Hypershell, but maybe that's for an update. So who is the Hypershell X Ultra for? If you're someone who loves exploring, hiking, cycling, or just being outdoors, but you wish you could go a bit further without feeling completely wrecked, this is for you. It's for people who love tech that doesn't just sit on your desk, but it moves with you. And honestly, it's one of the most futuristic and fun things I've tested in a good while. And that actually works really well too. It doesn't feel like version 1.0 or something, it feels like a finished product. Now you don't realize how much it's actually helping you until you turn it off. Big thanks to Hypershell for letting me try this thing out, and if you casually want to pick up some bionic legs for yourself, there will be links down in the description below the video. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it one of these if you did, and if you didn't like it, just hit dislike twice. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.